everybody. Today's video I'm going to teach you how to make use of some grocery store sales and put some stuff in your pantry that you might have not considered before. I hope that you can come along. I hope I can teach you some things and just help you to think a little bit more outside of the box. I've been doing this stuff a long time, almost 40 years, and I forget sometimes to videotape the simple stuff that I do on just kind of a daily basis, just routinely. And I forget that you guys don't live the weird life I live. And you're just now, some of you are just now starting to think this way. So maybe COVID has helped us a little bit. Maybe the whole virus has helped us to wake up a little bit and to realize that, you know, you never know when you might need some supplies. I don't typically prep for the end of the world as you know it. I prep for the simple everyday stuff, job loss, you know, bad storms, tight paycheck, you know, maybe I have to put tires on the car and I don't have money for groceries that week. That stuff doesn't trouble me because I do have something in my pantry that I can go to and access and keep feeding my family. And if you're in that mindset that I am now, I hope that I can bring you along and teach you a few things and maybe make your life a little bit easier. We've got another quick way to save. We are going to do another project with our dehydrator. And as you can see, I've got a dehydrator rack here. I have a Nesco Garden Master dehydrators, the kind that I have. And that's the trays that go with this. And we're going to use today another jelly roll sheet. And we're going to talk today again about another bargain from Walmart. What I have here is from Walmart in my grocery order today, and it's called a pepper and onion blend. It contains yellow onions, red bell peppers, and green bell peppers. Okay, so that's quite a good thing. We also call it a fajita blend sometimes. Peppers and onions are used in a lot of different cuisines. You use them in Italian, use them in Mexican cooking, you use them in Asian cooking. It's just a good all-around Cajun even, you know, peppers and onions, you need those. So it's nice to have them on hand like this frozen. There is a 1 pound and 4 ounce package, which is 20 ounces. And today's price I paid was $2.33 for this sack. Now, when that starts getting to seem to be a more value, it's when you realize that today, the same day that I bought these for $2.33 for 20 ounces or 1 pound and 4 ounces, today 1 bell pepper, fresh bell pepper, was 72 cents. 1 red pepper today was $1.38. So all I would have to have is enough for 2 bell peppers or red peppers in here, or 3 bell peppers in here, before I suddenly start saving a whole lot of money. And you know, this is just a great, like I said, a great way to save money, a great way to have things on hand for your pantry to stock up and save space in your freezer at the same time. So what we're going to do is today we're going to dehydrate them. I've got my tray, I've got a jelly roll pan to keep the small items from falling out the bottom. And we are just going to open this up and start spreading some peppers around. Okay? And you know, you can see by the chunks we got some pretty good sized slices of onion in here, and also the peppers. And whenever I use the jelly roll pan on my dehydration, I always put it on the bottom of each variety of thing I'm putting, because sometimes when you get small little pieces like this, when they're dry and dehydrated, they will actually fall through the grate, and I don't want them to fall through. I want to be able to keep them separated from the thing I'm drying beneath, which I have got something else going in the dehydrator right now. And I also want to, you know, keep everything safe and drying right. So we're going to put a light layer on the bottom here of the tray, and then we're going to do a second tray. And the second tray is going to have my favorite thing of all, and that is called they call them a clean-a-screen. And these are made specifically for the dehydrator. It fits just perfectly, as you can see. They're very floppy, plastic, highly durable, highly resistant. Wonderful. I love them. But they also make it easier to get things off and on the tray, and keep it from sticking to the main tray. So it's just a really nice thing to have. We're going to put one of those on. We're going to put the next layer of peppers and onions. And I'm sure you can tell by now, just looking, that there is a whole lot more than 2 or 3 peppers in this bag. And like everything, when I get a bargain, I'm going to get extra. So I've got 2 bags here. We're just going to open it up. No nonsense. And when you buy frozen vegetables, they have done everything necessary already at the processor to freeze them that you need to do if you're going to dehydrate them with success. So it's just a matter of taking them out of the freezer package and putting them straight in the dehydrator trays. Just works great. Okay, so that one's full enough. On these round dehydrator trays, you always want to load heavier towards the outside edge. Things dry faster on the outside edge than they do on the inner edge of the dehydrator tray. Add our next layer. Add our next liner. I got stuff stuck to that one a little bit from my sink. Okay. Add my next liner. And we're going to finish off. Now, you can tell when I was loading that I didn't do a very good job of getting them even. I've got one with a little and one with a lot. So I'm going to transfer a little bit over here. Kind of even it out. Okay. There we go. That looks a little bit better. A little bit more even. Okay. And we'll even these all out. Okay, and that will be ready to go on my dehydrator. I will put these in the dehydrator at 135 temperature setting in my dehydrator, and they'll probably take between 8 and 12 hours to dehydrate. You want to dehydrate them until they're nice and crispy. Okay. One thing to note, sometimes when you're dehydrating things like the peppers and the onions, they may have a smell to them. You may choose to do this in your kitchen with your hood fan on, your vent hood on, or near a window that you can leave the window open, so that it kind of lets that smell dissipate a little bit and you don't come home to a house that smells like onions or a house that smells like peppers. So, if that would bother you. So anyway, it's just another quick, easy way to save money and save pantry space. And I will show you the dehydrator setup in a minute here. And we will come back when these are all ready and ready to put in the storage. Okay? Okay, here we are at the dehydrator. This is a Nesco Garden Master dehydrator. I have it set up. You can see the very top trays up here. Kind of hard to tell maybe. It's got my fajita vegetables or my peppers and onions already on it, ready to go. Put the lid on top. Have some other things dehydrating down here also. This dehydrator is rated, I believe it's supposed to be able to do 21 racks, one on top of the other. It does take a little bit of time more to dehydrate if you have a lot of racks on it, but this amount, it doesn't really slow it down that much. But it will be ready in about between 8 to 12 hours. I'll start checking them and see how they are. We want to dry everything until it's crispy. When you're dehydrating vegetables, you put it on 135 degrees Fahrenheit. We switch on the switch and let her go. Alright, it's time to check on our results. We'll turn this off. I rotated the trays. It helps them to dry more evenly. And we're going to take off these top trays because they are another product. And we are going to see how our peppers and onions turned out. As you can see, they're dried out and they're crispy. So that's what we're looking for. So it's ready to put in the containers to store. Okay, it's time to get the peppers and onions off of the trays and into a storage container. And this is how I do it. Basically, I have my great big stainless steel bowl, and I'm just gonna lift them up and just take those little cleanest screens right off of the tray. And as you can see, the peppers just kind of stick right to it without a problem, and I can drop them in there. And then take that tray off and put the last one on. And then when it comes time, you see they're kind of sticky, and this is where these trays really are nice. It just comes off of here, peels right off. You can hear how crispy it is. That's what you want when you're storing dehydrated. Nice and crispy. And we're just taking them all off of the edges. That one sticks pretty good. Now you can see how these other ones will come off a lot better usually, the cleanest screens. Just kind of flex them, and all of your dehydrated vegetables just come right off. Whoops, if I can keep from shooting them across the room. And just as it flexes, they just come off right into my big old bowl. And then these are going to get washed with some soap and water and be ready for the next time. Having a dehydrator is an investment at first. Makes you feel like you're spending a lot of money when you're first buying it. At least it did for my pocketbook. But I have saved so much money over the years and used them so often and for so many different things. You know, they pay for themselves. They really do. And just the convenience of it, and like I said, having plenty of pantry storage. So, here is the peppers and onions, and I am going to crunch them a little bit. Once they're nice and brittle and crispy like this, see how nice they crunch up? And then when I'm getting ready to do, you know, seasoning you know, whatever recipe I'm going to use this to season, I do not rehydrate them. I just throw them in this way. Make sure I have a little bit of extra moisture. If I'm using a Mexican dish, for example, or Italian, a lot of times there's sauces involved, have tomato sauces or whatever, and there's usually enough moisture in the sauce itself to rehydrate these just perfectly well. Let's hope you can see that. My light's kind of fading in the window, but that's what it looks like all crunched up. And then we're going to basically put it in a bottle. And for a storage container, I am using a Gatorade. I think this is like a 20 ounce or something like that. Bottle, 24 ounce of Gatorade. And that's what I'm going to put these in to store them. And just do it the old-fashioned hard way. I'm sure if you wanted to, you could get funnels and spoons and bowls, but really it works just as fast as my hands. And my hands are clean because I'm handling food. Make sure that they're washed and dried. That should be pretty obvious. And when you're talking about peppers and onions, it's convenient to do them the way I'm doing them with these already frozen vegetables. And like I said, I got them on a good price, so it's very cost effective. But also you can know if you grow peppers, whether they're hot peppers or bell peppers or whatever, or if you get fresh onions on sale, it's very easy to make these mixes yourself with your own produce. And peppers and onions do not need to be blanched. You just basically cut them up, you know, wash them real well, cut them up, and then put them in the freezer, and all is well. So let me get this last little spiggle in there. This is where I usually make a mess. Okay, and that is basically 2 whole packages of fajita vegetables, or green peppers, red peppers, bell types, and onion. Perfect. Now, if you wanted to make this into a spicier mix, another thing you could do is, when you get like those red pepper flakes, a lot of times they come with our pizzas, you know, and I don't really we use a little bit of them on the pizza, but we'll have a whole bunch of them left over, and I can spice up this mix by just adding one of those extra little containers of the red pepper flakes, shake it up in there, and then I've got a more spicier mix. So you can do a lot with this. But it's just a real quick way to save freezer space and put something that's going to be shelf stable in your pantry. I use them for, like I said, for lots and lots of recipes. It's a very basic. And you can crunch them up. As a matter of fact, you could powder it if you wanted to at this point. But I do find that things keep better in flakes than they do in a powdered form. The powdered form seems to be like, it wants to draw moisture and get real sticky. There's a lot of sweetness in the bell peppers, and they are a stickier vegetable when you're dehydrating. But anyway, that's what we're doing for the day, and I hope you enjoy this video.